Ahlul Bayt taught that we should put in place when we are faced with the challenge of hopelessness and despairing from the mercy of Almighty Allah. We gave a lot of examples. To such an extent, we highlighted from the glorious Quran where Allah Ta'ala is not happy with anyone who despairs from His mercy, irrespective of the problem you may find yourself in. It could be spiritual problem, material problem, social, political. Whatever the problem might be, you as a believer do not have right to despair from the mercy of Allah. And tonight, inshallah, we're going to discuss about trial and tribulation, which is also in line with the previous discussions we had concerning hopelessness. You know, we are told, according to the teachings of Islam, that whoever wants to attract the mercy of Allah, as we mentioned previous night, that Allah's mercy is infinite, His mercy are unlimited, to such an extent that Quran said, وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا. If you are to count the mercies of Allah, you will not be able to reach that destination. Yani, if you look at your problems and you compare your difficulties and pains to pleasures that you enjoy in life, your pleasures and joy will be more than the pains you are going through in your life. Therefore, Allah said, if you have to count His mercies, it is a destination no one will reach. In fact, even the mercy that your father and your mother bestowed upon you, if you are to count them, you will not be able to count them, let alone that of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, from the teaching of Ahlul Bayt, we realize that whoever wants to attract mercy of Allah out of these infinite mercies, you need to be kind. Try to be kind in your life. Be kind to creatures of Allah. Muslims, non-Muslims, whoever you meet, try to be kind. Riwayah taught us in an ayah, whoever is kind, he will always have mercy. And Allah will make him way out in whatever difficulties he or she finds. Some are not kind. Some of us, our heart is too heavy. Quran said, Inna rahmatallahi qareebun min al-muhsinin. The rahmah of Allah is close to those who are muhsinin. Muhsinin means kind people. So be kind. If you're kind, be rest assured, you will go into trouble and you'll go out of it without knowing how you get out of it. That's Allah's mercy. Number two, if you want the mercy of Allah, this is the conclusion of that previous lecture. Be merciful to others. Allah will be merciful to you. Prophet said, Ar-Rahimuna yarhamuhum ar-Rahman. Irhamu man fil ard yarhamukum man fis sama. Those who are merciful, the most merciful will shower His mercy on them. Then He said, be merciful to those on the earth. The one in heaven will be merciful to you. So the second thing you have to do to get mercy of Allah, you don't need money for this one. Just be merciful. It's more or less like being kind. Just be merciful. Try to reach out with your strength, with your words of mouth. Try. Show sympathy, show mercy. Number three, you want to get mercy of Allah easily, is to attend the majalis of Ahlul Bayt. What does Imam alayhi salatu wasalam? Some people don't want to attend majlis. Every majlis of Ahlul Bayt is a source of mercy. What does the Imam say? Rahimallahu man ahya amarana. Full stop. May the mercy of Allah be on anyone who enliven our affairs. If you enliven our affairs, how do you enliven the affairs? You next one to enliven the affairs. You go to the majlis so that enemies know that the majlis of Allah is taking place is continuing. If you want the mercy of Allah, just attend the majlis of Allah. And you If one person join another person, not for anything but for them to remember us, to remember our masa'ib, our problems, and the pains we went through, the third one will be angels, will be asking for Allah's mercy to be showered upon the two of them. So therefore, you want mercy? Ya Allah, Madris of Alim wives. You and your wife, sometimes you find the heart is too stiff, problems coming in the house, sit with your children, remember one of the Dhamma of Alim. Wallahi, I tell you, you will bring the mercy of Allah in your house. You are at work, things are not going right, you see things are blocked, huh? Sit one corner of your work, even if you are alone, remember the masa'ib of Ahl al-Bayt, wallahi, you will get the mercy of Allah. Because that is the teachings of Imam, Rahimallahu man ahya. The mercy of Allah be on anyone who enlighten our affairs. The fourth one, that is the normal famous hadith we all know, I'm sure, the riwayah of Malaika Inat. Where Malaika Inat said, whoever strive to know Allah, you strive in your own way, get to understand the teachings of Allah, and you try to know what Allah wants from you, and what He doesn't want you to do, you get the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rahimallahu abdan arifa min ayn wa fi ayn wa ila ayn. Mercy and rahmah of Allah be on a slave who knows where he was and know where he is and know where he or she heading towards to. Yani, if you read about Allah and Al-Bayt, getting to understand your role as a slave, as a servant of Allah, you get the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Last but not least is my topic of discussion for tonight. Very briefly we'll do, and we'll continue inshallah in the coming weeks. Is to have a sabr when you are afflicted with problems in your life. We mentioned you cannot despair. So when everything happens to you, you should take it as imtihan, as ibtila, as examination from Allah. You see, Quran chapter Ankabut, the spider, 39 verse 2. Allah said, Alif Lam Mim, Ahsiba an-nasu an yutraku an yaqulu amanna. Look at the verse. Allah said, do people think that they will be left alone by just saying we believe in Allah without being examined? I am a Shia of Malaika Inat. Is it enough? No. Ayudraku ayyakulu amanna wa left alone. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, wa ashhadu anna we indeed examined those before them. فَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ صَدَقُوا وَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ الْكَاذِبِينَ. Why examination? Why imtihan in our lives? Because Allah, out of imtihan, He will know whether you are sincere in your love for Allah and your love for Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam. Sometimes our love for Allah is connected to something. Sometimes our love for Ahlul Bayt is connected to something. If that particular thing is not there, we don't show the love. Allah in Quran said, whoever says he's a believer, the very first day or moment that you claim to be a believer, you should be prepared for the imtihan and examination of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Only through the examination your sincerity will come out. Only through examination your sincerity will manifest. But if you see everything going, mashallah, nicely without examination, you should be worried. But like I not said, Allah examine those He loves. Wallah, sometimes when we are in examination, we think that the whole world is against us. No! Amir al-Mu'mineen, alayhi afdal salati wa azka salam. He said, if Allah loves His servant, He examines the servant. He will examine you left and right because Allah wants you to be more sincere. Therefore, Rasulullah, he said to Amir al-Mu'min one day, when I go, لَتُفْتَنُنَّ مِنْ بَعْدِي. If I go after me, there will be a lot of examinations, trials and tribulations. Rasulullah said there will be a time, يَسْبَوْ الْإِنسَانُ see people in hand, they lie because they want to survive. People close their eyes today and go against Allah because they want to survive. This imtihan, this examination, every situation you find yourself, regard it as examination from Allah. Therefore, Riwayah taught us, number one, we will be examined in our wealth. In two ways. Look at Quran. Allah said, we will examine you in positive and we will examine you in negative. What does it mean? If you are rich, don't think that that is the end of examination. You may be arrogant. Pride may be taking you. You may be undermining everyone. You being rich is imtihan, and you have to qualify from that imtihan. If you don't qualify from that imtihan, then that richness can take you totally out of the boundary of Allah. And today you find there are some people out of nowhere, they become rich, they start raising their children. Even namaz, they don't have time for it. In many cases, rich people don't have time for ibadah. Yes, there are rich people who have time, but those they are the feet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But in many cases, those who are rich, you find most is filled with poor people. Because this poor person, you think I must make ibadah for Allah to help him. So when you are rich and you have a more, it's imtihan from Allah. And you should know that Allah is giving you this as a loan to examine you to see the level of your sincerity. The other side also, I'm sure, it is also another examination of Allah. وَنَبْلُوكُمْ بِالشَّرِّ وَالْخَيْرِ فِتْنَةً, Allah said, وَإِلَيْنَا تُرْجَعُونَ. We will examine you with shar and we will examine you with khair. You see yourself poor, you should know it is examination from Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't let that poverty take you out of the way. Let it bring you closer to Almighty Allah. Like the way the richness and wealth will bring you closer to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are all examinations from Allah. The third one, the Bible said, your children, as you all know, they are examinations. There are people, they want children, and if they don't take the children, can take them out of the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There are people, because of the love they have for their children. So if the child is going out of the way, they cannot talk to the child. And the same thing, if you do not have a child, it is examination from Allah. Having it is examination, not having it is examination from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, you look at chapter Baqarah. Allah explicitly made it very clear. وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ. We will certainly examine you with something of fear. What is fear? Sometimes you are sitting in peace, tranquility, harmony. There is no anybody conducive atmosphere. All of a sudden you are making ibadah, then fear comes, fear for this, fear for that. Allah said we will examine you to see whether you will continue to be steadfast in your worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hunger. Maybe last year you were getting nice. Everything grocery you were going okay. This year things are less. Will you still worship Allah? Say, no, I'm not getting enough. Let me spend my time in there. Allah said, we will examine you. وَنَقْسٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ. And also there will be reduction in your wealth. Bank account previous years were too full. But all of a sudden, I don't know what's going on. Will you say Allah is alive or is not alive? Will you say Allah is responding to your dua or is not responding to your dua? Therefore, the iman which Allah requires from each and every one of us is this iman that cannot be shaken by any situation. That is the iman Allah wants from us. Not iman when small problem comes, it gets shaken. Small difficulty comes, your salat on time stops. Small problem comes, you cannot attend majlis regularly. Small difficulties come, a recitation of Quran is stopped completely. You ask him why, he said, I'm overstressed, I'm too stressed. But the only way to solve your stress is to worship Allah. When you make salah, Allah said, إِنَّ نَاشِئَةَ اللَّيْلِ هِيَ أَشَدُّ وَطَئًا وَأَقْوَمُ قِيلًا. Allah said, night vigil, you need to wake up at night to worship Allah. It gives life to your souls for the next day. And you want to empower yourself, the best way to empower yourself is the worship of Allah. it by any situation. That's why Allah said, فَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ صَدَقُوا. Allah will then know who are truths or truthful in whatever they do in the worship of Allah. Then Allah will know who are liars. Because imtihan of Allah is the sunnah of Allah. It happened in the previous ummah and it will happen in this ummah until the day of Qiyamah. You cannot be void of imtihan. One of the serious imtihan today Muslims are failing with is the imtihan of ikhtilaf al-a'ra, differences in opinions. You know, when mu'mineen, they are in communities and societies or organizations and they don't meet in opinions. Today you see Muslims, because of that, they don't go to the mosque. Some they don't worship. Some they don't talk to one another because they don't share the same sentiment. Here we have a riwayah that says that is the worst fitna that can destroy the ummah during the ghaibah of our imam. I don't share the same opinion with you in the running of the organization. Is it difficult? Is that a problem? Is that a problem? We have a riwayah that said when you differ from one thing, you should know it's a mercy of Allah because it will lead you to perfection and completion. So fitna to ikhtilaf al-ara. There is a tribulation and also examination that when people don't share the same sentiment in running Islamic organizations, the Islamic organization tend to suffer because people don't share the same opinion. That is imtihan. Allah is examining you and you will continue to be in that laboratory of Allah until you meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All prophets of Allah look at Lut. What was the examination and the imtihan of Prophet Lut? Today what we hear is coming to Africa, unfortunately. These same-sex marriages, who's my word, that was during the time of Prophet Lut. That was serious examination. His wife failed in the examination of Allah and Lut and his people passed the examination of Allah. Another examination, Nuh alayhi salatu wassalam. How many years you called people to Allah? وَإِنِّي كُلَّمَا دَعَوْتُهُمْ لِتَغْفِرَ لَهُمْ جَعَلُوا أَصَابِعَهُمْ فِي آذَانِهِمْ وَاسْتَغْشَوْا ثِيَابَهُمْ وَأَصَرُّوا وَاسْتَكْبَرُوا اسْتِكْبَارًا. Musa said, Ya Allah, I'm making this da'wah. I'm calling people to Allah. Whenever I call them for you to forgive them, they put their fingers into their ears. They don't want to hear. And when I insist what they would do, they would take their clothes and they would cover their faces because they don't want to look to see them. So that is the movement to رَبِّ لَا تَذَرْ عَلَى الْأَرْضِ مِنَ الْكَافِرِينَ دَيَّارًا إِنَّكَ إِنْ تَذَرْهُمْ يُضِلُّ عِبَادَكَ وَلَا يَلِدُ إِلَّا فَاجِرًا كَفَّارًا. Allah, do not leave any one of them on the face of the earth. But you know what was the imtihan of Noah? Being the prophet of Allah, Allah examined him with his son. The son refused to accept the calling of Noah. He followed his mother. No made to up. My son, when they bought the ark, Allah said, he is not your son because these are not good. So it's examination. Therefore you see Allah gave an example of the wife of Noah and the wife of Lut in Quran, that they were under servant of Allah and they deceived those servants of Allah and they will enter fire with those who will enter fire on the day of Qiyamah. Therefore this imtihan went even into Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam. Today all these masail that we recite, Muharram, Ashar al-Awwal, is imtihan. Allah examined Ahlul Bayt. Now Ahlul Bayt could make dua and Allah would solve the problem within a twinkle of an eye, isn't it? But why Allah examined Fatima al-Zahra? Why Allah examined Abu Abdullah? His 6-month-old baby, he was holding his son. They struck the arrow on the chest of the son and he sees the son die. Imtihan. Allah wants to see how steadfast. Allah, you Ahlul Bayt were steadfast, but he examined them for me and you to take lessons. If tomorrow we come here in this world and Allah examine us, we should not cry. That should not take us away from Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Examination of Amir al-Mu'mineen, you know, he would go, he would lead people, he would give a khutbah, he would teach people. Imam would go in his own way to spend his own money to help people. What did they do? It was in the mosque and they stepped Imam Ali. Examination. امتحان جاري في الماضي كما يجري في الحاضر. It was there during the previous time. That's what Allah said. وَمَا ظَلَمْنَاهُمْ وَلَكِنْ كَانُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ يَظْلِمُونَ. We will not do injustice to anyone. They will rather do injustice to themselves. Therefore, what Allah needs from you with your iman, sabr. In every situation, you need to have sabr. Whatever situation you may find yourself in, have sabr. You don't have money, they were prophets of Allah, Allah never gave them. You are not famous in the community, everybody doesn't look at you with good face. There were many servants of God who were attacked by people. Your wife is disturbing you, there were many servants of Allah who were disturbed by their wives. Your husband is like the wife of Pharaoh. You never had a child in your life, there were many people and servants, prophets of Allah who never had children. Yatim, prophet was yatim before. So their lives should serve as lesson for all of us, so that we can be steadfast in our iman and love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is why Allah concluded in the Quran. Every situation you find yourself, what will be the approach? Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. We are from Allah, and to Allah is our return. What does Allah say? أُولَٰئِكَ عَلَيْهِمْ صَلَوَاتٌ مِّن رَّبِّهِمْ وَرَحْمَةٌ. Those when they are afflicted with examinations and problems, and they say we are from Allah, and to Allah is our return, salawat of Allah and rahmah of Allah will be bestowed upon them. وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. And they are the successful ones. Things cannot be on a silver platter. Everything is on a platter. It cannot happen. Through this examination, and then you get empowered by Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdillah. Assalamu alayka ya ibn Rasulillah. Assalamu alayka ya ibn Amir al-Mu'minin. Assalamu alayka ya ibn Fatimah al-Maghluma. Ma khaba man tamassaka bikum ya Aba Abdillah. Talking about examination, the mother of examination is Fatimah al-Zahra. When we do the ziyarah of Fatimah al-Zahra in Mafatih al-Jinan, what do we say? Assalamu alayki ya mumtahana. امتحنك الله فوجدك لما امتحنك صابرا. Oh, the blessings and the peace of Allah be on the examined one, Fatima. If you claim to have examination in your life, there is no examination like pushing the door on a pregnant woman. Pushing the door on a pregnant woman is examination. That is why you address Fatima al-Zahra. Salamullahi alayha in ziyarah. Oh, the examined one. When God examined you, He found you patient. وَوَجَدَكِ لِمَا امْتَحَنَكِ صَابِرًا. Allah found you out of that examination patient. Your mother or your sister is pregnant. Instead of her to deliver properly, henchman was sent by the authority of the time. What did they do? They pushed the door on the pregnancy of this woman. If you claim to have been tried by Allah in your life, your examination will not reach the infant baby who flapped his hand like the way birds flap their wings. Ali Asghar was a real test for Bibi Rubaba. Ali Asghar was a real test for Bibi Rubaba. That is why you realize when they went to Sham, when Yazid decided to release them, Zainab Salamullahi alayha, Imam Zayd al-Abidin were there. Now Zainab called everyone and said, now let us go, we've been free. Yours is nothing compared to Ahlul Bayt. Ya Allah. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. Raise up your hands, let's move on, inshallah. All the Mu'mineen, may Allah grant them the shafa'a of Muhammad. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Mu'mineen that we have requested for Dua Nazir Ali, Khafu, and then all the Mu'mineen, Ya Allah grant them Jannat al-Firdaus. The organizers of this majlis, may Allah bless them immensely, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also those brothers and sisters who have helped for the mosque to be renovated with the tiles, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept their actions, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant them Jannat al-Firdaus, inshallah. Each and every namaz that is being performed in this mosque, may Allah keep them commissioned on the day of Qiyamah, inshallah.